ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome, one and all, to the Steve Malzberg Show, the Monday edition. And boy, oh boy, are we chock full of news for you. Of course, the latest in the pending government shutdown, and we'll tell you that right off the bat. The Senate finally came back from their extended weekend vacation to vote down the continuing resolution that was passed by the House on Saturday. So now it's back in the hands of the House. We'll speak to Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn. I should say Congressman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee in just a few moments. But I want you to hear some really good sound bites that describe how purposefully the media is misleading the American public and how they're taking sides. I think this is very important because not only are the Republicans up against the Democrats, against the Senate, against the president, but they're, of course, also up against the media. So I want you to listen and hear this. I cannot take my hat off. If I had a hat, it would be coming off to Congressman Raul Labrador, Republican from Idaho. He is amazing. And he was on Meet the Press, and he told it like it is, that the government has been shut down 17 times before, 12 of those times under Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill. And most of those times, the leader of the Senate was Democrat Robert Byrd. And often it was with Jimmy Carter as president, and they still shut down the government. You would think this was the first time ever. Well, listen to Labrador go on Meet the Press, go after Chris Matthews, who was called the Republicans terrorists. Listen to cut 35.
Our first request was to completely defund the program, and we knew we were going to lose on that. Now we're asking for a delay, which, again, I don't think is an unreasonable thing to do. You know, your boss, Tip O'Neill, shut down the government 12 different times, and you didn't call him a terrorist.
No,
you did not call him. You didn't call him.
These were always issues of a couple of days, and they were always resolved. And they were over numbers, and it was both sides. So let's be fair, both sides were doing it.
But it happened. But you said once.
Where'd you get your number from?
It's from the Washington Post.
No, 7 times. So you're counting all the time since the 70s. Look, they were always.
No, there were 17 times since the 70s, and 12 under your boss.
Okay,
so.
All right, so. It was always for a couple of days, which makes it all right. And let's be fair, both sides did it. No, Chris. First of all, if it lasts for a couple of days, that makes it all right. Why don't we wait and see, A, if this happens, and B, how long it lasts? It might last one day, and then according to Chris, it would be all right. This is insanity, and I got the 17 times right here. I got them. 1976, Democrats controlled the House and the Senate. Let's see, it was 1977, Democrats controlled the House and the Senate. 1977 again, Democrats controlled both. 77 again, Democrats controlled both. Tip O'Neill. 1978, Democrats controlled both. Tip O'Neill. 79, Tip O'Neill. Democrats controlled both. 81, Ronald Reagan. Democrats, Tip O'Neill, closed down the government. It goes on and on. 82, Tip O'Neill. 82 again, Tip O'Neill. 83, Tip O'Neill. But it's okay, Chris, because it was just for a couple of days, right? These people are amazing. Here's cut 36.
One of the shutdowns was based on the fairness doctrine. One of the shutdowns under Tip O'Neill was because the fairness doctrine had actually been done away with, and they wanted the fairness doctrine back. So it has been done before. The Democrats spent the entire decade of the Bush administration trying to repeal the Bush tax cuts. It's not like Republicans and Democrats don't fight about their policies. That's what politics is all about.
Right, because they make it, health care, that's the law. You can't change the law. So the fairness doctrine, they shut the government down under Reagan over the fairness doctrine. Bush tax cuts, they've been trying to repeal that. You know they tried to repeal that over and over and over again, but that was the law. How could you repeal it? I guess only Obamacare is this sacred cow that you don't dare touch because it's the law. All right, let's move on. Chris Matthews, misinformation, Meet the Press, yesterday, cut 49. Let's give a listen.
Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, had been passed by the House, by the Senate, signed by the president, reviewed by the Supreme Court, and then the president got reelected on that very issue.
Got reelected on health care? On that very issue? Do you recall that being the focal point of the presidential election? Was it an issue? Yes. Was it that very issue that got the president reelected when the country's against health care reform under Obamacare? How would that happen? It didn't happen. It was not the focal point. It was not that very issue. Now, here's another lie, and she's caught in this lie, I believe. D.D. Myers, former Clinton White House press secretary, and again, I believe it's the great Congressman Raul Labrador who comes to the rescue, cut 50.
The House has voted now almost 40 times to repeal Obamacare, and every single time it's failed. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting
Actually,
a different.
8 times we had the president has signed legislation that has repealed certain parts of Obamacare.
So maybe the insanity, DD, is repeating the same lie over and over again. They 48 times, 40 times, whatever, 8 times this worked. 8 times they got parts of Obamacare repealed, adjusted. So this myth that they've done it, 40 times and nothing's ever happened is a lie. But maybe insanity, DD, is telling the same lie over and over again and hoping people will believe it. Now, listen to Bruce Ratner. Bruce Ratner, the former car czar under Barack Obama. This is cut 16. He gets caught in a little problem. Cut 16.
Let's be a little bit more specific. What the White House is saying are two not different things, but two complementary things. They're saying, one, they will negotiate over the government shutdown and the continuing resolution, which is the business that's in front of us right now.
But not the debt ceiling.
The debt ceiling, their view of that is it's like negotiating with terrorists, that you just can't do that.
Like Barack Obama. Then you're saying Barack Obama was a terrorist in 2006 when he said he refused to raise the debt ceiling?
No.
Oh, so that wasn't an act of terrorism in 2006 when the president did it as senator, but it is an act of terrorism now that he's a president?
Well, right now it is something that
you
White
really
House
got no
not
answer to that.
It's complicated. It's complicated. Very complicated.
It is comical, but it's scary and it's sad. Bruce Ratner sitting on Morning Joe, I believe on Friday, and, of course, calling the Republicans terrorists for threatening the debt ceiling increase. When Obama was senator, he voted against raising the debt ceiling. So they say to Bruce Ratner, well, was Obama a terrorist then in 2006 when he voted against raising the debt ceiling, the way you're calling Republicans terrorists now? Oh, humana, 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 humana. You know that if you know the honeymooners, right? Just outrageous. And the same thing with Congressman Labrador when he said to Chris Matthews, you called the Republicans terrorists over closing down the government. Was your boss a terrorist when he did it 12 times? Humana, 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 humana. Oh, well, that didn't count. Really? Really? All right, folks, big show ahead. Marsha Blackburn coming up next. Then at the bottom of the hour, Stephen Moore. What does a shutdown mean for all of us? And are the Democrats playing politics? Wall Street Journal said yes. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar but stopped taking their diabetes medications with the astounded approval of their doctor. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't hear this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now, while this revolutionary video is still available for free. That's 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. 99reverse.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Why connect the funding of the government, the entire U.S. economy? Why bring it to this brink? Why not do it at all the other times all of the other 100+ Congresses have been able to fund the government?
Well, have you addressed that to the Senate? I mean, we've already offered a compromise. You're telling your listeners that we Republicans are holding this up and the government's going to shut down. We have actually reached out to the Democrats with a compromise position.
Congressman, that's not fair. Don't you dare put this back on me. You know full well, you know full well you attached Obamacare and defunding it.
Am I a guest on the news show or am I here to listen to the tirade?
You cannot make something up.
Am I a guest on your news show or are you here to give us a tirade?
You can't make up facts, sir. You pass a bill back to the Senate saying defund Obamacare.
All right, there you go, folks. So welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Ashley Banfield on CNN going quite ballistic, if you ask me, and not getting her facts straight. Joining us now is the great congressman from the great state of Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, who was also involved in that with Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. She was standing right next to the congressman during that little portion of the 8-minute interview. But you got in your facts and your shots and your responses too, Congressman.
Well, yes, I did. You know, it was just amazing. She just decided she was going to have people believe that we had not done anything, and nothing could be further than the truth. And so, yes, after Congressman Rohrabacher finished, I went in and I said, you know, let's go back to the very beginning, which is always a good place to start when you're building context. The Senate went for 5 years and didn't pass a budget. They passed one this year. And so when we got ready to go to conference, they said, oh, by the way, we'll go to conference with you if you will agree to a tax hike. And we were not going to do that. So we have not been able to go to conference with them because they will not agree to go to conference on an open process and put everything on the table. They want to predetermine the outcome. Now, would you go negotiate with someone who had a predetermined outcome?
Of course
Absolutely not.
Of course not.
Because you're just a sitting duck. They're going to say, no, our agreement was you had to agree with me if I was going to negotiate with you. So first of all, that is something that is ridiculous. Secondly, we had tried to get the Senate to go through an orderly process on this. They didn't want to do it. We send a CR over to them that addresses one of the primary issues that we have sent bill after bill after bill over to the floor to try to get them to address, and that is the issue of Obamacare. It is too expensive to afford. The exchanges don't work. They have given 1,200 waivers. They have made 19 executive order delays, 19. They have missed 47 legally binding regulatory deadlines. And all of this exchange is going to cost about 16 million hours and $5.3 billion to the U.S. economy.
Right, and in contrary to what she was claiming, Ashley Banfield, you sent over to the Senate a bill that called for the delay of implementation, not the total defunding of Obamacare. So she was wrong on that. Am I correct?
You're correct. And see, we sent the defund bill first. That we have tried to get them to work with. They sent it back to us, so we said, fine. Here's our compromise. We will give you a one-year delay since the president has already exercised 19 delays of this program and 1,200 waivers. Here is a one-year delay for everybody. It's a fairness issue. Let's delay the whole thing for a year, get it right.
All right, so the bill that the Senate they're going to send back to you now again, rejecting your compromise. There's some talk among some. There was just a piece out at on one of the wires that the Republicans could back down, could just take this fight up with the debt ceiling. Where do you go from here with the Senate sending you back a bill that would say to your bill that you sent on Friday or Saturday rather? That says no, just another clean CR. Where do you go from there? I
think we send them back another bill. And I'm one of those members. I've said, look, the first waiver that was ever given to Obamacare was the president's staff waiving the president, the vice president, their staffs, executive appointees, the IRS, Health and Human Services, the CMS, and the Supreme Court's out of Obamacare. They don't ever have to fool with it. So let's just put all federal employees, including all of those, into Obamacare. The president, this is his signature program. He should want to be in it, and he should want to be the first person to sign up for an exchange tomorrow.
All right, so the CR would then take away that exemption for congressional staff as well, and for Congress, and for the president, and for his staff? That's what you're saying?
Congress is already in it.
Well, the staffs, though, there's a subsidy, though, for the staffs, correct?
It is the employer, it's the regular employer subsidy that federal employees get for their health insurance. That's the subsidy that would travel with staff for the exchanges. But we should do away, if we're going to do away with any of the federal subsidy, then all of the federal subsidy needs to be done.
All right, so that would be in what you would send back to the Senate. What about the medical?
I would be for it.
What about the medical device tax?
I would love to have them take that up and permanently repeal that.
All right, and let's say that's what you send back, and let's say tonight they send it back and say no, and they keep saying no. How far will you guys go?
I can't answer that question because it's hard to talk on hypotheticals and say what will or what may not.
All right, well, here's not a hypothetical. Could you imagine what you would have faced and what you would be facing if it was you guys standing there on that interview who hadn't yet checked in yet to the House of Representatives for work, and you had been playing golf, or you had been doing, as the president did, played golf, or whatever Harry Reid did over the weekend, but you had not been working? If it were the Republicans who had not been working, can you imagine the onslaught you would have faced?
Oh, I can't even begin to imagine what would have happened to us if we had been off at ball games and playing all weekend and hadn't been working. I can't even imagine what the American people would be doing and saying right now. And they'd have a right to. And the American people have the right to be furious with the Senate. They're off. They take off Friday afternoon and are gone the rest of Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
And half of Monday.
And half of Monday.
A long weekend, like a holiday weekend.
That's right.
And I don't hear boo about it. Congressman, I know you're busy. I got one more for you here. Tomorrow, October 1st, Obamacare, for even if you could delay part of it or whatever, or defund part of it, or as you were talking about the premium assistance and the device tax, still in all it kicks in. What kind of day is it going to be for America tomorrow?
Oh, I think it's going to be an incredibly sad day. I think it's going to be a very confusing day. If the program's not ready for prime time, it's too expensive to afford. You're going to see rate shock. You're going to see some people start issuing pink slips to people because they say, well, I guess it's finally going to go on the books, and so, we've got to cut our employees. And I think it's going to be a very tough day.
And I saw in Tennessee in particular, compared to what people are paying now, for men and women, it's going to be outrageously high.
300% increase.
Yeah, just outright. Congressman, keep up the good fight. You got most of America on your side, so we'll speak to you again soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Congressman Marsha Blackburn, ladies and gentlemen, from Tennessee. As the back and forth continues, 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. What should the Republicans do? What about the Senate vacationing until about an hour ago from Friday afternoon? How is that possible? I want to hear from you guys on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Our first request was to completely defund the program, and we knew we were going to lose on that. Now we're asking for a delay, which again I don't think is an unreasonable thing to do. You know, your boss, Tip O'Neill, shut down the government 12 different times, and you didn't call him a terrorist.
No,
you did not call him. You didn't call him.
These were always issues of a couple of days, and they were always resolved. And they were over numbers, and it was both sides. So let's be fair, both sides were doing it.
But it happened. But you said once.
Where'd you get your number from?
It's from the Washington Post.
No, 7 times. So you're counting all the times since the 70s. Look, they were always.
No, there were
cases.
17 times since the 70s, and 12 under your boss.
Okay,
so.
And Congressman Labrador is absolutely right, and kudos to him for making a fool out of Chris Matthews and the whole leftist media. Joining us right now is our friend from the Wall Street Journal, Stephen Moore. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, Steve, great to be with you. That's a great soundbite. You know, I had even forgotten about that, but, you know, these things have happened so many times in the last 25 years, and you know, when Democrats do it, they're custodians of good policy, and when Republicans try to force their will, they're terrorists.
Right. Republicans, if you look back, and the Washington Post, Dylan Matthews had this out on September 25th, 17 times since 1976. Usually, nine times out of 10, it's Democrats controlling the House and the Senate, even when Carter was president. And these are government shutdowns, and now it's like the world is going to just end.
Yeah, and by the way, those 17 previous times, I mean, the world did not come to an end. It was not the end of days. And, you know, we're hearing this overblown rhetoric right now. Look, I don't want to see the government shut down. I mean, I want to get this thing resolved. But, you know, these are very serious policy disagreements between the president and the Republicans who were elected to have the majority in the Congress. And, you know, the president is basically saying he's not going to negotiate. Harry Reid saying he's not going to negotiate. Well, how do you, Steve, reach a middle ground when one party won't budge an inch?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, and of course, the Senate has, of course, rejected the CR sent over by the House on Saturday. The Senate, la-di-da, ended their vacation, their long weekend, and came back to work at 2 o'clock Eastern time in time to vote down that continuing resolution. So now it's
this is an important point, Steve. Why have they waited till 2 o'clock this afternoon? They could have done this on Saturday, right? And the answer is because I believe, we said this in the Wall Street Journal today, the Democrats want the government to shut down because all they care about is politics. They don't care what's good for the country. They care about politics. So they think, and they're probably right, they can blame this on the Republicans. And if that means, you know, a bunch of people, you know, don't get paid and you know, people have to worry about, the services they depend on for government, that's a small price to pay to squash the Republicans.
And they think that this is step one in their strategy to take back the House in 2014,
yes,
right?
Exactly right. It's all politics. That's the whole point about this. Look, you can agree or disagree with the Republicans that they're standing for this principle. I mean, I think it's an important principle, but honest people can disagree. But to stand for a principle, and then blame the Republicans for being political here, I believe it's Harry Reid who's being the political one, because now he's basically said, okay, we passed our budget. There's only 8 hours left. What are you going to do? It's becoming very, very difficult to avoid a shutdown rather than spending the last couple of days negotiating.
Absolutely. We're talking to Stephen Moore, the Wall Street Journal, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So you keep hearing these horrific scenarios coming from the media, especially. What will happen, Stephen? I know that in the continuing resolution, the Republicans have fully funded the military, but the Democrats won't even accept that. So at this point, what will happen at midnight tonight?
To be as terrible as possible, Steve. I mean, they want this to be like a nuclear reactor going off in the country, because then the Republicans get the blame. Here's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I think that the Republicans are going to pass back to the Senate a budget that basically gives the Democrats what they want, except for the one thing on Obamacare is it gets rid of the egregious congressional exemption that I've heard you talking about, that basically lets Congress and their staffers have a carve-out from the law that it wants to impose on the rest of us. And look, if Democrats reject that, I mean, what do you do next? I don't know. I mean, these guys, this congressional exemption, the loophole that gives Congress basically a carve-out for Obamacare, 90% of Americans are sickened by that. And the Democrats look like they're going to try to protect that too.
Absolutely. So how will you and I and the people listening and watching, for the most part, we can't speak to individuals, but federal employees will feel it immediately. But how will anybody else feel it?
Well, look, I mean, there's some things that are going to be very inconvenient. If you need to get a passport or something like that, Steve, you might want to run out and get it today. If you need to use data from the government or something like that, a lot of those agencies are going to be closed down maybe for a day or two. Will it be in the end of the world? Hell no. It'll be inconvenience for some people. But, as I said, these are big, big principles about whether we're going to continue to borrow $1 trillion a year, whether we're going to have what is, in my opinion, the worst law that's passed Congress in 30 years. And so, some inconveniences for 48 hours I don't think are so terrible.
So you see this, whatever happens, as a short-term shutdown?
Yeah, I do. And I think Republicans, Obama, have you ever seen anything like this, Steve, with the press treatment of this? I mean, they're treating Republicans like they're criminals, convicts.
And the rhetoric from the Democrats are the same exact words. Terrorists, arsonists, anarchists. I mean, my God, what does it say for Tip O'Neill and Robert Byrd and their cronies?
Right. And so, it's very difficult when you've got 3 against 1. You've got the Senate, the president, and the press against the House Republicans. So,
you think they will eventually acquiesce and save it for the debt ceiling?
I don't know. They may have to, because the president is not negotiating here, and he's basically feeling like he's got an upper hand because he's got the media on his side, and so he wants the Republicans.
But he's negotiating with Iran and with Syria and with Russia.
Well, here's the point. And even if Republicans have to basically accede to the president on this, do not forget, Steve, that we also have in two weeks a debt ceiling fight. And people wonder, why is there such ill will? Why can't these parties get along? Well, it's when the president uses this kind of language, I mean, and he treats these people like they're, the scum of the earth.
Yeah, they're messing with me.
That doesn't build comedy.
No, they're messing with me, all this kind of language, which is really unpresidential. One more for you, Steve, and that is tomorrow, no matter what happens, Obamacare officially launches. What does that mean? You talk about it devastating for the economy.
Well, here's where I think Republicans should make the case that, one of the reasons that delaying Obamacare for a year makes sense is the thing isn't ready. Nobody understands the law. The businesses don't understand it. The people don't know how to sign up for it. Everybody's confused by it. Employers don't know what it's going to mean for their employment. We already have the Obama administration admitting that it's not ready. right? That things like basic things like verifying the incomes of people to make sure they're actually eligible for these subsidies. The IRS isn't ready. The HHS isn't ready. You know, I think the American people are saying, wait, why are we trying to start this jalopy when the wheels aren't on it yet?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and unfortunately, we've reached that point, and you know, we've already seen the economic impact. And one other thing I just wanted to run by you. I know you don't predict the stock market or anything like that, but interesting to see that the market, you know, so far hasn't crashed in anticipation of the shutdown.
Yeah, because they've lived through this 17 times before, right? It's not the end of the world. The press and the president are trying to make this out like it's going to be Armageddon, and people realize that these differences get settled, and so it's not going to cause a stock market crash. And you know, I think the president is really being cynical when he's trying to spook the markets by saying, "Oh my God, we're not going to be able to pay our bills. We're going to the full faith of the credit of the United States government is going to be abrogated. If you've got those bonds, you're not going to redeem them." I mean, can you imagine, Steve, if a president of a company said that about his company's bonds?
Yeah, that's the end of that. Absolutely.
Fire the shareholders in 24 hours.
Absolutely. Well, I wish we could fire him in the next 24 hours, but that's not going to happen either. Steve, thank you very, very much, sir, for your time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen, editorial board, Wall Street Journal, saying that the Democrats want the government to shut down. They're playing politics. And I could not agree more. If you're going in saying we're not talking, we're not negotiating, these people are terrorists, they're hostage takers, they're anarchists. I mean, does that breed a climate for agreement? You know, I mean, sit down and talk, meet, and then come out and say we couldn't reach an agreement. Play the game. Make believe. They're not even making believe. They just don't want anything to do with any kind of compromise, any kind of negotiation, any kind of talk. They're saving that for the terrorist leader of Iran and the murderer in Syria. Hey, what can I tell you? All right, what do you think? 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660. I would love to hear what you have to say. Are the Democrats the ones playing politics? Are the Democrats the ones to blame? Or is it the evil Republicans? On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. In the next hour, we're going to be joined by Congressman Jack Kingston from Georgia. He is a senior member of the House Appropriations Committee. We'll get his reaction to the Senate rejecting the CR sent over by the House and get his take on what the House will do next. Also, Caroline Glick will join us, Middle East fellow at the Center for Security Policy and deputy managing editor of the Jerusalem Post, former advisor to Bibi Netanyahu, who met today at the White House with President Obama over Iran and a host of other issues, no doubt. Global warming. Last week, we told you about the report. We talked about it with guests. We talked about it with callers. By the way, you're free to weigh in at 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. And actually, why don't we go to Mark from Florida before we get to more on global warming and how the media has responded. Hey, Mark, you're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks for weighing in, sir.
Yeah, hello. I hope you're fine today. First of all, this so-called Health Care Act, Affordable Health Care, has nothing to do with health care. It's not affordable. We were told, Nancy Pelosi was running around telling everybody to vote for it, and they can read it later. Don't worry about not being able to read it. So obviously, if our so-called...
Oh, wait a minute. You're leaving something very important out. You were also told this. Listen to this one. Listen to this one, okay?
Okay.
And here it is.
We will keep this promise. to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. First of all, if you've got health insurance, you like your doctor, you like your plan, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. Nobody is talking about taking that away from you.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your private health insurance plan, you can keep your plan, period.
Yeah, period, all right.
Well, I guess I'm correct every time I say this man is a pathological liar. The problem here is that we live in this country and we have these people to deal with. He promised, by the way, universal health care to all of his left-wing constituents when he first came in office. So maybe it might be a good idea to get them fired up and let them go out there and picket the White House and say how outraged they are that they were lied to. And
well, there are a lot of people on the left who don't like the health care bill. When these polls come out showing a majority of Americans don't like the health care bill, a lot of them are on the left that it doesn't go far enough. But they have to understand that his goal is, and he is succeeding in doing this, in pushing private insurance companies out of business. And within 5 years or so, I believe most of them will be out of business if this is allowed to succeed or progress. And he will have accomplished single payer. So I think they should just be patient on the left.
Well, aren't one of two things happening here? Either these health insurance companies are making a fortune off of this because they're selling policies that provide almost no coverage. So when they say they'll provide a family coverage for $100 a month, they really don't offer anything. So they're making a lot of money on it. Or are tax dollars going for this, in which case the tax dollars are actually going to the private companies?
Well, the tax dollars are going to subsidize, quote unquote, those people who are low income and can't afford it. Look, the whole.
Yeah.
I know, Mark.
We're broke, and they're going to get money out of thin air. Well, the problem here is twofold. Okay, not only are we being lied to, but our economy has already been robbed and being robbed. And when they talk about left, right, socialism, capitalism, they're basically leading us on the road to feudalism. It's a neo-feudalism, which is something very sick that's going on, and I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to this.
I hope, Mark, and I thank you for calling, sir. Thank you very much. Mark from Florida, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I want you to hear this. Back to the global warming report, the IPCC from the United Nations, the report which said they're now 95% sure that man is causing global warming. Of course, they left out of their report, very conveniently, the fact that the Earth has not warmed since 1998. And here is CBS News on the CBS Evening News last week, to their credit, telling us that. This is cut 25. Well, this will be cut number 25. CBS Evening News.
Another inconvenient truth has emerged on the way to the apocalypse. The new UN report on climate change is expected to blame man-made greenhouse gases more than ever for global warming. But there's a problem. The global atmosphere hasn't been warming lately. Since 1998, while the amount of greenhouse gas has continued to rise, the air temperature hasn't. However the apparent pause in global warming is explained, it makes the task for the world's majority of climate scientists who urge urgent action now more difficult. For the skeptics, it's ammunition.
Yeah. And here is cut 26 from CBS Evening News.
Does this remove the sense of urgency?
It has already.
For Benny Pizer, who heads a climate policy think tank, the world doesn't need crippling cuts in fossil fuel use. Are you saying that the measures that are being proposed for the quite significant reduction in the production of greenhouse gases are unrealistic, unreachable, wrong? What do you say?
They are unrealistic and unreachable.
And whatever happens to the temperature, the climate change debate is about to heat
up. Right. The temperature's not going anywhere. Why is the climate change debate then ready to heat up? Because of the media, because of the lies that are told by the media, by the left, by the president, by Al Gore. It would be hysterically funny if it weren't so serious. Because what they propose, just like the war on coal, which is going to shut down the coal industry by Obama's unilateral actions with the EPA, it's going to impose upon all of us, costs, regulations, increase in prices for goods. It's going to be a disaster at a time when people are losing their jobs or working part-time. And for what reason? No reason other than to make some select people rich. Now, let me tell you something here. Okay. In a series of tweets, you could put up 37, I think I said, or whatever I said the other one was. Was it 37? Or let me see. 37. Okay. In a series of tweets on Friday afternoon, the former Wall Street Journal weatherman, Eric Holthus, who now works at Quartz, which is QZ.com, had what Newsbusters is calling a meltdown. He tweeted these tweets in response to the IPCC global warming report. Totally agree. Happy to go extinct. And okay, here's what he said. He says, I just broke down in tears in boarding area at SFO while on phone with my wife. I've never cried because of a science report before. So he heard this report from his wife or read it and called his wife that we're 95% responsible for man-made global warming, and he broke down and cried, okay? I realized just now, he tweeted out, this has to be the last flight I ever take. I'm committing right now to stop flying. It's not worth the climate. Next one. We all have to do everything we can every day to reverse CO2 emissions. There is no other way that makes sense. Another one. All of our energy, each one of us, should be devoted to this issue. Nothing else matters. It's a zero-sum game. And then he retweeted somebody who wrote, happy to go extinct, which in and of itself carries a certain sadness. In other words, no reproduction, no kids, no travel, no airplanes. As a result of this cockamamie UN report, which ignores the fact that the Earth hasn't warmed for the last 15 years. Wow. You talk about a quote-unquote meltdown? Yeah. This is insane. This is insane. But this is, I don't know that this is typical of anybody, because Al Gore reads the report and goes home and laughs, counts his money. But this guy's taking it all to heart, like it's his responsibility to save the planet. We can't save the planet. The planet's not in danger. And if it were, we couldn't save it anyway. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920.
This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congress can't seem to compromise on a bill to keep the government running, meaning we are likely headed for some sort of government shutdown. All day it looked like the Senate would vote down a recently passed House plan to fund the government that also calls for a one-year delay of Obamacare. Yesterday, a group of GOP members stood in front of the Capitol criticizing Senate Democrats for not working during the remaining few hours right before the government shutdown. But a woman riding her bike near the Capitol gave House Republicans a piece of her mind.
He was elected by the American people.
Yes. Oh, well, and yes.
Down.
Reporter. Actually,
reporter. Dude, get down. Can you get out of the way?
well, if I may, it is true. Yes.
And you talk about your constituents the entire time.
Yeah, I was elected. I represent.
Well, clearly a supporter of the Democrats there, but other Democrats accuse the GOP of stalling to force the president into a corner. However, Republicans led by House Speaker John Boehner say they will not back down.
It's time for the Senate to listen to the American people, just like the House has listened to the American people, and to pass a one-year delay of Obamacare and a permanent repeal of the medical device tax.
Meanwhile, at the White House, President Obama called a cabinet meeting for later today to prepare for a possible government shutdown. And the Department of Justice plans to sue North Carolina over its new voter ID law. Starting in 2016, North Carolinians will be required to show a valid government ID in order to vote. Republican lawmakers in the state insist the measure is necessary to prevent voter fraud. However, Attorney General Eric Holder is expected to argue that the law is discriminatory against minorities and students, two groups that traditionally are less likely to have IDs and more likely to vote Democratic. Also at the White House today, President Obama met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to talk about Iran. Netanyahu came to Washington with a message: don't be fooled by Iran's new leadership. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has gone on a PR blitz in recent weeks, promising to talk with the U.S. about its nuclear program. But Netanyahu believes Iran still wants to build nuclear weapons. He says it's vital for Israel's security to prevent that from happening. Also, two of the Catholic Church's most popular pontiffs will be raised to sainthood this spring. Pope John Paul II and Pope John XXIII will become saints together during a first-of-its-kind ceremony for the Catholic Church on April 24th at the Vatican, during the second week of Easter celebrations. Pope Francis made the announcement Monday at the Vatican, and they expect hundreds of thousands of people to come all over the world for this unique celebration. And coming up next on our Newsmax Now update, a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Michael Burgess of Texas. Will the GOP or Senate Democrats blink first? Plus, a flight has to make an emergency landing in Italy next.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com. In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at Aftershock911.com. Aftershock911.com.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
And welcome back. A pilot had to make an emergency landing in Rome late Sunday after part of the plane's landing gear would not come down. The pilot tried at least 2 other times to land, but had to pull up because of other difficulties. But he finally made the rough landing, and all 150 passengers on board the flight to Madrid were fine and eventually reached their destinations. And who will blink first? Senate Democrats and the president, or House Republicans? Right now, it looks like the government is headed for a shutdown. But even if that happens, both sides will eventually have to negotiate. And there have been people in the GOP who have criticized the leadership of House Speaker John Boehner. But during a recent Newsmax exclusive, Congressman Michael Burgess of Texas says Boehner has the confidence of the conference.
I believe the speaker still has, the speaker has the ability to get that job done.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for September 30th. I'm John Bachman. Remember, for more exclusive interviews and content and the latest on the possible government shutdown and Obamacare implementation, stay with Newsmax TV.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the countdown clock being run on CNN and elsewhere. 7 hours, 53 minutes, and 45 seconds. Woof. Those of you inside radio will know exactly what I just did with the woof. Anyway, government shutdown. This will be the 18th time since 1976. La-dee-da. Now, we're in the midst of getting the official Republican vote or House vote from John Boehner and the Republicans and the Democrats, for that matter, in response to what the Senate did when they came back in session earlier today. They voted down the Republican-led House passed CR, which passed on Saturday. And because the Senate was out of session until 2 p.m. Eastern time today, that's about 2:30 is when they voted to send back to the House a so-called clean CR, continuing resolution, that would fund the government for, I think, a couple of months. And it would have nothing to do, take no compromise, nothing with Obamacare. And now apparently, and we'll talk to Congressman Jack Kingston in a few minutes, now apparently the House is going to once again send over a bill to the Senate that will call for a 1-year delay in the individual mandate in Obamacare and will take away the subsidies for all federal employees, including staff members of Congress, so that they too will be hit by the premiums of Obamacare. But Harry Reid has already said it's not going to happen, so we're headed for a government shutdown. That's what it looks like, unless some Republicans break with the rank and file in the House, because Congressman Peter King has already stood up and said, no, I'm against this, and at least one other too. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I want you to listen to actually, let's do cut 38 first. This is a person in the street. It's in New Jersey. It's a report where they talk to, I guess you might call them zero information voters. Brent Baker reported on this at Newsbusters. It's a report where they talk to, I guess you might call them zero information voters. 10%, the Republicans will be to blame. The American public says this, right? Listen to an example of the American public. Cut 38.
We'll go up the hill and around, but we'll start at the top of the hill.
An army of Obamacare experts are going door to door.
Hi, good morning. Is Christopher home? We're not selling anything. Do you currently have insurance?
Trying to explain Obamacare to Americans who don't have health insurance.
I know that has something to do with caring about people, Obamacare. So basically, that's all I know.
According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, 43% of uninsured Americans still have no idea about the new exchanges.
I have a question. Who created this affordable health care plan that you're
Well, this was passed by Congress.
Oh, Congress.
Yes. The Affordable Care Act, yes.
And I'm just wondering, as a citizen of America, how come I did not hear of this?
While health care reform is a frequent source of contention in Congress, many of the people we spoke to here in North Bergen, New Jersey. Healthcare reform is a frequent source of contention in Congress. Many of the people we spoke to here in North Bergen, New Jersey.
One guy says, well, it's Obamacare, so I don't know, but I guess that means it cares about people, so that's a good thing. And the other guy wants to know where it came from and how come I, as an American citizen, have never heard anything about this. It's sad. but it's representative of a very big percentage of Americans, not only on Obamacare, but let's stick to Obamacare. And the Kaiser Foundation poll found that 43% of those without health insurance have no idea about Obamacare. Now, how's that possible? Unless they are people who have no intention of pursuing health insurance, will never sign on, would rather pay the minuscule penalty, which is 1% of their salary, gross income. It's just insanity. Obamacare means caring about people because it says care in the word, in the name. And the other guy's like, how come as an American citizen I've never heard of this? Because ignorance is bliss. Hey, maybe he's better off living that kind of life than I am. Maybe my blood pressure would be better. Maybe your blood pressure would be better. Maybe we'd all be happier if we just went along like little, robots immune to anything except our own personal everyday, surroundings and circumstances. Maybe that's the better way to live. I don't know. I'm just pointing this out to show you what the American public is thinking out there. 43% apparently, just like these two people that you heard from. All right, we're going to come back. Congressman Jack Kingston will join us, and he is a senior member of the House Appropriations Committee. What do the Republicans do now as we stare down a government shutdown? Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said the truth is stranger than fiction. The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967
for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff.
What is LigNet's mission?
Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LigNet?
There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, Previous analyses and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Caroline Glick will join us, Senior Middle East Fellow at the Center for Security Policy, Deputy Managing Editor at the Jerusalem Post, and we will analyze what took place today between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Israel as they met at the White House. And I do believe, I'm a little confused because I think Bibi Netanyahu spoke before the United Nations General Assembly last week via videotape or Skype or some such way. But I thought I read that he's going to be at the UN again this week addressing the United Nations. So we'll clear that up with Caroline when we speak to her at the bottom of the hour. But your call is also welcome on everything we're talking about. And again, the question is, as we await the arrival of Congressman Jack Kingston from Georgia, 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. The question is, what do the Republicans do next? That's what everybody's waiting for. But it seems that it's not going to matter because they're not going to send a so-called clean CR. They're going to send a CR that calls for, apparently, as we'll hear from the congressman, apparently a one-year delay in the individual mandate of Obamacare, and also doing away with the subsidies for federal workers of any kind for Obamacare's premiums. So that's where we are. Apparently, that the House is yet to vote on that new CR because the Senate sent back a clean one again, rejecting the one that was sent on Saturday night. But I mean, the question really does have to be asked. It really has to be. The president's playing golf this past weekend, golf, and the Senate is on recess until today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Where is the outrage over that? The Republicans are in Washington working till late into the night Saturday night, early Sunday morning, ready to talk, asking to negotiate. And everybody went home on the Democratic side on Friday afternoon and said, "No, we're not talking. See you Monday afternoon. I'm playing golf," said the president. God knows what Harry Reid and the rest of them did. So I don't get it. I really don't get why the outrage isn't there. But maybe the congressman from Georgia, Jack Kingston, could fill us in a little bit on that as we welcome in the senior member of the House Appropriations Committee in the House. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Steve. Or I'm saying that with very guarded terms because right now we're at a tentative stage in this negotiation with the Senate, or maybe lack of negotiation.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, sir. First of all, when is the vote going to take place in the House? Because it's in your court, as they say. And what will be in the or attached to the CR, and how long a CR will it be? Have you guys decided that?
Well, the vote will probably take place around 6 o'clock for the rule and around 8 o'clock for the actual vote after debate is over with, and I'm guessing in the 7 to 8 o'clock range on that.
Mm-hmm.
The CR goes till December 15th, And the two amendments that we're going to give Harry Reid yet another chance to negotiate on, and it's one that would give individuals the same exemption that the president gave big business. It's a fairness question. If he was going to exempt big business, shouldn't we also say individuals could have 1 year of exemption? And then secondly, that members of Congress and Capitol Hill employees would lose the premium subsidy, which has become so controversial. So, we want to give Harry Reid a chance to say, yes, we'll accept that. And frankly, for those people who do want to kill Obamacare, choking off the oxygen to the beast by removing the individual mandate, that's a way to do it.
Even delaying it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have? I mean, I guess you have the votes, but are you at all concerned that we've heard from people like Congressman Peter King, who reportedly stood up at the to the caucus and said, "I'm against this," and at least one other congressman who I don't recall who went on CNN and said basically the same thing. Let's end this, and we can't win. We're going to lose. So I don't want to shut down the government. I mean, are there many more like them?
I think there are. I think that people kind of realize that we're in a barroom fight, if you will, and that there's collateral damage politically and otherwise. But the reality is, if we cannot get Obamacare back on the table, it's $1.7 trillion in spending on top of a national debt that's already 100% of the GDP. If not now, when? And if not us, who? I mean, it's the same debate that we always have, that we traditionally punt and go down the road and say, okay, we're going to do it next time. And so we have said we were going to be very tough on this, and that's the time is now.
Well, when you say, sir, that you think there are others who are concerned about collateral damage, I mean, how significant a number on the Republican side are you concerned about at this point?
I think there could be maybe 15 or so who say, you can always find a reason to vote no. I've been in Congress for a while, and whatever the bill is, even if it's one that commemorates Mother's Day, you can find
right, but not enough to turn the tide and reject the bill.
We're not whipping it, but I think right now we would have the votes to pass it, and I would think some Democrats would come on board, because this bill keeps the government open, and it does give individuals the same exemption the president gave big business, and they have constituents too that are outraged by the congressional subsidy. So we may pick up a few Democrats.
Now let me ask you. We're talking to Congressman Jack Kingston from the great state of Georgia here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you to speculate, and let's just assume, okay, you get it passed. Harry Reid does what Harry Reid said he will do, and that is nothing except a so-called clean CR. Then if the government shuts down, I mean, will you be able to hold enough Republicans to keep it shut down, or will you then pick your next fight for the put it all on the debt ceiling?
I think that's billion-dollar question, and I don't know the answer to it, but I would say this, that I'm not convinced that Harry Reid is really 100% committed to keeping the government open. I believe that there is political cynicism among some that say, hey, if my party's going to be the perceived winner in public opinion through a shutdown, then let's shut it down and pick up whatever political goodwill we can from it and blame it on the other guys. And I do think that's part of today's calculus, and I don't like to say that, but I do think it's part of the thinking that goes on. I would say that the majority of people want to keep the government open in both parties, but and another thing is, we talk often about 1995 there being a 21-day shutdown. There was actually another one that was a 5-day shutdown. So in the event that we could not agree with the Senate on something tonight, they adjourn and don't worry about things. You can always come back in a day or two and change this. Not a great way to do business, but it would not be the end of the world if you couldn't get it done by midnight. I'll point out also in 1990 there was a 3-day shutdown. In 1987 there was a 1-day shutdown. So this is not political unknown territory.
No, and Congressman, let me interrupt. In 1976, there was a 10-day shutdown when the Democrats ran the House and the Senate. In let's see, I can't see it to say how long. In 1977, 12 days. Democrats ran the House and the Senate. 1977, 8 days, Democrat. 77 again, 8 days, Democrat. 78, 18 days, Democrat. So, I mean, you know, the media doesn't want to tell anybody about this, but you guys should be trumpeting this all over the place.
You know, I'm glad you point that out. You know, one of the concerns is that having been here in 1995 when we did shut down, the media was generally neutral on it. Now, you know, the media can have some bias, but they weren't proclaiming whose fault it would be in advance. But now I think there is, particularly in some of the other media outlets, this it's going to be the Republicans' fault. I mean, you know, they've already chosen their side. They already.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and the language that's being used. I think it was Congressman Labrador on Meet the Press who did it so eloquently and beautifully, who confronted Chris Matthews, who's called the Republicans terrorists, and he said, "Your boss, Tip O'Neill, shut the government down 12 times, and did you ever, was he a terrorist? Oh, well, you see, those were usually short, and that was different." Well, they weren't short, as I just indicated to you, and how that's different, except that it was Tip O'Neill and not, you know, John Boehner, I have no idea.
It is. I think it's just amazing. Under this president, the media has decided whose team they're on, and they're just, you know, there's not even a pretense of objectivity among some of the outlets. And that's why it's so great to have shows like yours, because those of us who want more information, we have an outlet to go to.
Well, Congressman, I appreciate that, but it's people like you that make shows like this possible, and you know, we admire what you're doing there, and keep up the good work, and thank you very much for taking the time to be with us.
All right, Steve, let's do it again.
We will, very soon. I'll call on you. Thank you.
Okay.
Congressman Jack Kingston, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. He doesn't know how soon we might call on him. Chad, we might be calling on him tomorrow or tonight for tomorrow. Anyway, so there you go. You know, there you go. I mean, 18 days, 17 days, 12-day shutdowns. This is nothing new. And the media makes it seem like, oh my God, and the language from Daniel Pfeiffer, the White House advisor, and others, you know, terrorists, anarchists, kidnappers, hostage takers. Wow. All right, folks, we're coming back. We're going to be joined by Caroline Glick. We'll talk a little bit about the meeting between Barack Obama and Barack Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu. Apologies to Benjamin Netanyahu on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show. If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD IRA to request your free no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real hold-in-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone.
Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar but stopped taking their diabetes medications with the astounded approval of their doctor. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't hear this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now, while this revolutionary video is still available for free. That's 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. 99reverse.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the big Steve Malzberg show. The president will be speaking in about 15-20 minutes. We will try to bring that to you live if we can. Guarantee he's going to say he's not going to negotiate and we're headed for a government shutdown, but I've been wrong once before in my life. Joining us now is our friend Caroline Glick. Of course, you could read her at carolineglick.com. She's a senior Middle East fellow at the Center for Security Policy, deputy managing editor at Jerusalem Post. Hey, Caroline, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, Steve?
Good. Always good to talk to you. And on this day where Benjamin Netanyahu came to Washington and met with Barack Obama, just a weekend after Obama, I guess, shocked the world and announced that he had, after being slapped in the face and rejected for the handshake request at the UN, he took it upon himself and called the new Iranian president and basically thinks, hey, now we could have an agreement. Everything's going to be hunky-dory.
Right. And it's very worrisome.
What's that?
And it's very worrisome.
It should, I'm sure it is. So Netanyahu to urge the president, at least publicly, to tighten the sanctions if Iran defies the West. And the president said that they will not take any options off the table on Iran, including military. Do you believe that?
No, not at all. The president, I think the problem is that the Obama administration seems to have cooked up something with Russia and did not consult with Israel because they knew that Israel would disapprove, because this deal, like the deal with Syria, is not going to be enforced, and it's not going to be a serious gambit that's going to lead to Iran abandoning its nuclear weapons program or ending its development of nuclear weapons through the uranium enrichment and the production of plutonium. So this is a really dangerous gambit that the Obama administration has taken, and it's going to work out based upon Obama's prior actions and also the statements that he made even in the presence of Prime Minister Netanyahu this afternoon. I think that it can only work out badly for everybody concerned except the Iranians and perhaps Russians.
So what does this do to Israel? In other words, if Israel is right and Iran has nefarious intentions and they move forward, all the while Obama says, "Oh, we're talking, they're cooperating. We could end these sanctions," as Kerry said, in a short amount of time. And Obama said, "Oh, the Ayatollah issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons, so he doesn't want them either." I mean, it's almost like it's scary. He's either so naive or doing this on purpose in a bad way. What does this tie Israel's hands if they want to move forward with military action?
Oh, absolutely. It puts Israel in a bind because the Americans are saying that they're going to be able to reach a deal that's going to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons without firing a shot, and that's not true. I mean, it's not true. Even just the basic things. Khamenei, the fatwa that Obama cited in his address before the UN General Assembly, was never issued. It's a lie. It was propaganda and has no basis in fact whatsoever. There was never a fatwa by Khamenei saying that Iran will not produce nuclear weapons. The entire exercise here in pretending that Iran can have anything but ill intentions towards the United States and towards Israel and towards the rest of the world is just it's not based on reality, unfortunately, at all. None of it.
Do you believe it's naivete, or do you believe it's something worse?
I really don't think I know the answer to that. And I don't know that it matters. The problem is that right now Israel is in a box because the Obama administration has adopted a policy through which Iran is going to acquire nuclear weapons, and because it's the United States negotiating with the Iranians, Israel is not going to feel free to attack Iran's nuclear installations in time to prevent them from acquiring nuclear weapons, from enriching sufficient amount of uranium in order to develop those weapons, or producing plutonium to do so. So it's very much of a trap that Obama has laid for Israel, whether purposely or because he's really innocent to the point of stupidity.
We're talking to Caroline Glick here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You could read her at carolineglick.com, managing deputy. I'm sorry?
And at jpost.com, of course.
And at jpost.com, Deputy Managing Editor, Jerusalem Post, former advisor to Bibi Netanyahu. So I want to ask you, you said that you believe that Russia, which obviously is behind the Syria nonsense, you believe that they're the key player here with Iran as well as it relates to Obama?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think that absolutely, yes, I do. I think that the Russians have been allied with the Iranians in Syria, and the Russians have been major suppliers of Iran's nuclear weapons program. They built the Bushehr reactor, and they have promised to provide Iran with sophisticated anti-aircraft guns that will make Iran more or less immune to airstrikes from Israel or the United States. So Iran is a strategic ally of Russia's. The notion that Russia doesn't play a key role in this as it did in Syria, where it's also the strategic protector of the Syrian regime, in alliance with Iran and Hezbollah, it's just ridiculous. So it's a very central player here.
So let me ask you to play the fly on the wall role. When the doors were closed, what did Bibi say to Obama, and what did Obama say back, or vice versa?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. There's a fly on the. I don't think it was a very interesting conversation. I can't imagine it was a very interesting conversation because I don't think there's anything that Israel can say to Obama at this point. What are we supposed to say? You're endangering the free world. So he did that with Syria. I mean, you're enabling the worst enemies of the United States to acquire the worst weapons in the world. Does he not know this? I mean, what are you supposed to say? He's doing this in spite of, or to spite, I don't know, massive amounts of intelligence. The United States itself has accepted as credible and correct that states that Iran is building has a nuclear weapons program, that it is currently developing at a madcap pace, and that it is at the precipice of nuclear arsenal. So what is Israel supposed to say at this point? I mean, I don't even know. Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, it's good. Now, is Netanyahu speaking?
And I just want to add one more
please,
thing
go
on
ahead.
that note, which is that I think one of the most insidious things about what Obama's doing is that we saw in his UN speech is that he's linked the Iranian issue to the Palestinian conflict with Israel, and he's stated that both of them are the central causes of instability and chaos in the Middle East. And that's simply not true. I mean, Israel, so what he's saying is that Israel is as guilty for the pathologies of the Middle East as Iran. It's a deeply insulting, deeply hostile statement that he made, and of course nobody remarks on it. It just sort of passes by as if nothing was said, but it was an extremely insulting remark. And I think that is in fact what's guiding his views, that he thinks that Israel is the central, or one of the central causes of violence and instability and war in the Middle East.
I believe
he's
he's always believed that, and the people he has always surrounded himself with, even pre-presidency, have always believed that. So I don't doubt that for a second. Well, is Benjamin Netanyahu speaking at the UN? Because I thought I saw that somewhere.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow he is. Okay, so to a General Assembly, which is still in session, I
Right.
guess. Okay, all right. So we'll watch with interest. Hey, Caroline, it's a depressing picture you paint, but I don't see how it could be painted any differently. And I think Obama's figured out a way to really stick it to Israel here. And I just hope Jews all over the world, especially in this country, hold their political leaders responsible and speak out. But I wouldn't hold my breath based on what they did with Syria, how they supported the president in that effort. Caroline, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and have a good day.
You too. Caroline Glick, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you, I've never heard her sound so down. But from what she's saying, the president has figured out a way to screw Israel and screw them good. And tie their hands and say, behave yourself and watch while I let Iran get a nuclear weapon. And you can't do anything. Nah, 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 nah. I'm telling you. That's basically what he's done. All right, we're going to come back. When the president speaks, we'll try to take it live on the looming government shutdown. Busy, busy day. You're in the right place, or at the right place. I don't know if you're in here. The Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are awaiting any minute, but with President Obama, that he's already 3 minutes late. Any minute, he will take to the podium at the White House in the press room, and he will address the media and the nation and you and me, likely addressing the potential government shutdown. I don't know if he will make any other remarks. He is not at the podium yet. If we're in the middle of a soundbite or something, we will stop and go right to it. But I have this bad feeling that it's going to happen right as we go to the top of the hour because he's always late. That's one thing. You want to bet. I don't know if Vegas takes odds on this, and I don't want to. I'm not held responsible. I'm not giving you advice. I'll just say this, that if there's one thing I would bet on, and if it was possible to bet on this in Vegas, it's that when Obama is scheduled to give his next impromptu, not a State of the Union, not one of those deals, but Obama's going to speak and scheduled to give an announcement. He's always late. Just remember that. Okay, I want you to hear, because if Piers Morgan and others, Joe Scarborough basically said the same thing to Bill Clinton's face. They lament the fact that there's an amendment that prohibits presidents from serving more than 2 terms. when it comes to Bill Clinton. And listen to Piers Morgan talk about that. This is cut number 15.
There is no better person to explain what's going on in Washington, and the world for that matter, than Bill Clinton. The former commander-in-chief is honest, blunt, and fascinating. Who do you think might make the better president, your wife or your daughter? I talk a lot about the Second Amendment, as you know, on my show, and gun control and so on. But the 22nd Amendment, to me, is even more flawed, because that's the one that stops presidents serving more than 2 terms.
Oh, Bill
Clinton would still be president now.
Oh, come
He'd be president for another 20 years.
You know there's a large section of the country that would disagree with that.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be wonderful if Bill Clinton could have been president for, for 30, 40 years? Why not? Yeah, so this non-American citizen, not only does he have a problem with the Second Amendment, but now he doesn't like the 22nd Amendment because, hey, why shouldn't your presidents run? Well, maybe we should just have a king and a queen, which is what we separated from in the first place. Piers. This is insane. But again, if it were only him, I wouldn't even have brought it up. But it's others. I have played in the past the Joe Scarborough. Oh, President Clinton. Oh, the issues so well. Oh, if only you could run again. Oh, I mean, it's like, oh, come on. Are you kidding me? No, it's good that we have a 2-term limit. It's very good. With today's media and the way they could tilt things and spin things, and it's very good. I wish we had congressional term limits, in fact. Now, then there's Chelsea. You heard his first question to Bill Clinton before in that bite from Piers Morgan. Who would make a better president, your daughter or your wife? That Chelsea Clinton is qualified to do anything. I mean, NBC hired her for a while. She was a disaster, an embarrassment. She was on with Brian Williams on his show, which got canceled. She did. I mean, and NBC said at the time, we could think of nobody better qualified than Chelsea Clinton to join our staff. Really? Really? Why? And now she's qualified apparently not to run for a state assembly seat, not to run for the state legislature, not to wherever she lives, not to run for Congress, not to run for U.S. Senate. Forget all that. She's qualified just to go right to the presidency. Skip all the other stuff. Just let her run for the White House because she's Chelsea Clinton. And here's Chelsea Clinton weighing in on, after the Kenya terrorist attack at the mall, why she thinks terrorism is a problem and how we could combat it. This will be 22. We'll cut number 22.
I mean, the greatest risk factor arguably is an unemployed young man to any social system, to any society anywhere in the world. And so ensuring that young people feel like we are collectively investing more in their future than in kind of either harboring past grievances or in kind of protecting the status quo is, I think, the best antidote to that.
Right. Unemployment of young males is the biggest problem that leads to terrorism. Unemployment. How many times have we heard about leaders of terrorist groups, leaders of Islamist groups that have been doctors and lawyers, and they leave their homes and they go to fight the battle? How about the Kenyans or the attackers from the Kenyan Mall attack that owned a business or two in the mall in Kenya? They were business owners to stake it out for the attack. That's how they knew. That's how they gained familiarity. That's how they became accepted. Now, whether they actually did it or not, they passed the information on. That's one of the reports that have come out recently. I could go down the list. Were the hijackers unemployed? Were the Fort Dix 6 unemployed? I'm going back a while on that one. Taxi cab drivers, pizza delivery men. Unemployment. If only we could cure unemployment of young males, there'd be no more terrorism. All of a sudden, they wouldn't chant Allah Akbar. All of a sudden, they wouldn't turn to Islamist extremism. All the terrorist groups throughout the world. In Nigeria, one Muslim group just bombed a Muslim school over the weekend, killing about 48 kids and people. They lined them up and shot them in groups. They lined them up in groups and shot one group and let them watch and then shot the next group. If only these people were employed. Give me a break. Hey, run on that platform. I'm sure the left-wing media will go with it full force. Here's a new fresh take on how to combat terror. Let's get full employment, not only here in America for young males, but around the world. Yes, we are a global economy, and presidential candidate Chelsea Clinton says if we could gain full employment, we would make a huge dent in terrorism. Sounds good to me. Sounds as good as Barack Obama calling the president of Iran and citing a fatwa from the Ayatollah of Iran, which not only according to Caroline Glick never happened, but according to the director of Memory, never happened. Memory is a group which translates radical Islamic and Palestinian video into English. They say it's a scam and a sham. And remember Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs? Matt's supposed to shake his head yes and give me a thumbs up. But anyway, the whole thing, there was never a fatwa. And so what if Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs? Remember Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs? Yes, got a thumbs up from Matt. Because I was saying it's a scam, it's a sham, and then it just, Sam I am. Anyway, we got a president who believes the Ayatollah of Iran issuing a phony fatwa. And even if he did issue a fatwa, what does that mean? It's mind-boggling where we are today. As Caroline Glick said, it is frightening. It is frightening. Not just for Israel. It's frightening for us. It's frightening for us. And, I don't know. I don't know what position Chelsea Clinton would hold in a Hillary Clinton administration. Have no idea. Okay, folks, I told you he would be late, and he's late. So we're not going there. And the latest is that the Senate came back into session today at 2 Eastern. By 2:30, they had voted down the continuing resolution presented and passed by the House on Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Now they sent a continuing resolution clean, quote unquote, with nothing else on it except funding the government, back to the House. And we were told by Congressman Kingston in this hour that within the next several hours, the House will vote on, or the House will present its own continuing resolution, which will defund, which will take away the premium subsidies for congressional staff members and Congress on Obamacare premiums, and will also, he said one other thing, which subsidies, and the individual mandate will be delayed for a year. Glad I take notes. All right, folks, this is, of course, the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing. Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congress can't seem to compromise on a bill to keep the government running, meaning we are likely headed for some sort of government shutdown. All day it looked like the Senate would vote down a recently passed House plan to fund the government that also calls for a one-year delay of Obamacare. Yesterday, a group of GOP members stood in front of the Capitol criticizing Senate Democrats for not working during the remaining few hours right before the government shutdown. But a woman riding her bike near the Capitol gave House Republicans a piece of her mind.
He was elected by the American people.
So yes. Well, and yes.
Reporter.
Actually,
reporter.
Dude,
get down. Can you get out of the way?
Well, if I may, it is true. Yes.
And you talk about your constituents the entire time.
Yeah, I was elected. I represent.
Well, clearly a supporter of the Democrats there, but other Democrats accuse the GOP of stalling to force the president into a corner. However, Republicans led by House Speaker John Boehner say they will not back down.
It's time for the Senate to listen to the American people, just like the House has listened to the American people, and to pass a one-year delay of Obamacare and a permanent repeal of the medical device tax.
Meanwhile, at the White House, President Obama called a cabinet meeting for later today to prepare for a possible government shutdown. And the Department of Justice plans to sue North Carolina over its new voter ID law. Starting in 2016, North Carolinians will be required to show a valid government ID in order to vote. Republican lawmakers in the state insist the measure is necessary to prevent voter fraud. However, Attorney General Eric Holder is expected to argue that the law is discriminatory against minorities and students, two groups that traditionally are less likely to have IDs and more likely to vote Democratic. Also at the White House today, President Obama met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to talk about Iran. Netanyahu came to Washington with a message: don't be fooled by Iran's new leadership. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has gone on a PR blitz in recent weeks, promising to talk with the U.S. about its nuclear program. But Netanyahu believes Iran still wants to build nuclear weapons. He says it's vital for Israel's security to prevent that from happening. Also, two of the Catholic Church's most popular pontiffs.
With regard to operations that will continue, if you're on Social Security, you will keep receiving your checks. If you're on Medicare, your doctor will still see you. Everyone's mail will still be delivered, and government operations related to national security or public safety will go on. Our troops will continue to serve with skill or public safety will go on. Our troops will continue to serve with skill. Those who are with border patrol will remain on their posts, but their paychecks will be delayed until the government reopens. NASA will shut down almost entirely, but Mission Control will remain open to support the astronauts serving on the space station. I also want to be very clear about what would change. Office buildings would close, paychecks will be delayed, vital services that seniors and veterans, women and children, businesses and our economy depend on would be hamstrung. Business owners would see delays in raising capital, seeking infrastructure permits, or rebuilding after Hurricane Sandy. Veterans who've sacrificed for their country will find their support centers unstaffed. Tourists will find every one of America's national parks and monuments, from Yosemite to the Smithsonian to the Statue of Liberty, immediately closed. And of course, the communities and small businesses that rely on these national treasures for their livelihoods will be out of customers and out of luck. And in keeping with the broad ramifications of a shutdown, I think it's important that everybody understand the federal government is America's largest employer. more than 2 million civilian workers and 1.4 million active duty military served in all 50 states and all around the world. In the event of a government shutdown, hundreds of thousands of these dedicated public servants who stay on the job will do so without pay. And several hundred thousand more will be immediately and indefinitely furloughed without pay. What, of course, will not be furloughed are the bills that they have to pay, their mortgages, their tuition payments, their car notes. These Americans are our neighbors. Their kids go to our schools. They worship where we do. They serve their country with pride. They are the customers of every business in this country. And they would be hurt greatly. And as a consequence, all of us will be hurt greatly should Congress choose to shut the people's government down. So a shutdown will have a very real economic impact on real people right away. Past shutdowns have disrupted the economy significantly. This one would too. It would throw a wrench into the gears of our economy at a time when those gears have gained some traction. 5 years ago, right now, our economy was in meltdown. Today, our businesses have created 7.5 million new jobs over the past 3.5 years. The housing market is healing, and our deficits are falling fast. The idea of putting the American people's hard-earned progress...
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have the president speaking at the White House. He's been speaking for about 5 minutes. Let's pick it up, and I'll tell you what you missed.
Have for more than 200 years. Unfortunately, right now, House Republicans continue to tie funding of the government to ideological demands like limiting a woman's access to contraception or delaying the Affordable Care Act, all to save face after making some impossible promises to the extreme right wing of their party. So let me be clear about this. An important part of the Affordable Care Act takes effect tomorrow, no matter what Congress decides to do today. The Affordable Care Act is moving forward. That funding is already in place. You can't shut it down. This is a law that passed both houses of Congress, a law that bears my signature, a law that the Supreme Court upheld as constitutional, a law that voters chose not to repeal last November, a law that is already providing benefits to millions of Americans in the form of young people staying on their parents' plan until they're 26, seniors getting cheaper prescription drugs, making sure that insurance companies aren't imposing lifetime limits when you already have health insurance, providing rebates for consumers when insurance companies are spending too much money on overhead instead of health care. Those things are already happening. Starting tomorrow, tens of millions of Americans will be able to visit healthcare.gov to shop for affordable health care coverage. So Americans who've lived for years in some cases with the fear that one illness could send them into bankruptcy, Americans who've been priced out of the market just because they've been sick once, they'll finally be able to afford coverage, quality coverage, many of them for the first time in their lives. Some of them may be sick as we speak. And this is their best opportunity to get some security and some relief. Tens of thousands of Americans die every single year because they don't have access to affordable health care. Despite this, Republicans have said that if we lock these Americans out of affordable health care for one more year, if we sacrifice the health care of millions of Americans, then they'll fund the government for a couple of more months. Does anybody truly believe that we won't have this fight again in a couple of more months? Even at Christmas? So here's the bottom line. I'm always willing to work with anyone of either party to make sure the Affordable Care Act works better, to make sure our government works better. I'm always willing to work with anyone to grow our economy faster or to create new jobs faster, to get our fiscal house in order for the long run. I've demonstrated this time and time again, oftentimes to the consternation of my own party. But one faction of one party in one house of Congress, in one branch of government, doesn't get to shut down the entire government just to refight the results of an election. Keeping the people's government open is not a concession to me. Keeping vital services running and hundreds of thousands of Americans on the job is not something you give to the other side. It's our basic responsibility. It's something that we're doing for our military and our businesses and our economy and all the hard-working people out there, the person working for the agricultural department out in some rural community who's out there helping some farmers make sure that they're making some modest profit for all the hard work they're putting in. They're the person working for HUD who's helping somebody buy a house for the first time. There's somebody in a VA office who's counseling one of our vets who's got PTSD. That's who we're here to serve. That's why we're supposed to be carrying out these responsibilities. That's why we should be avoiding this kind of constant brinksmanship. It's something that we do in the ordinary process of this extraordinary system of government that we have. You don't get to extract a ransom for doing your job, for doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, or just because there's a law there that you don't like. The American people sent us here to govern. They sent us here to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make their lives a little bit better, to create new jobs, to restore economic security, to rebuild the prospects of upward mobility. That's what they expect. And they understand that there are differences between the parties. And we're going to be having some tough fights around those differences. And I respect the fact that the other party's not supposed to agree with me 100% of the time, just like I don't agree with them. But they do also expect that we don't bring the entire government to a halt or the entire economy to a halt just because of those differences. And that's what they deserve. They've worked too hard for too long to recover from previous crises just to have folks here in Washington manufacture yet another one that they have to dig themselves out of. So Congress needs to keep our government open, needs to pay our bills on time, and never ever threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America. And time's running out. My hope and expectation is that in the 11th hour once again, that Congress will choose to do the right thing, and that the House of Representatives in particular will choose the right thing. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the president is not taking questions. You've been listening to the final 7 minutes of the president's statement. That's what it was, and he started it. You get the gist of it. There was nothing earth-shattering in the first 5 minutes that you didn't hear, or the first 6 minutes that you didn't hear. The president, I could at least give him credit for taking his stand if he wasn't so disingenuous and either ignorant or purposely ignorant of history, saying you don't get to extract a ransom, again, making these Republicans seem like they are criminals or kidnappers or hostage takers. He said that a shutdown of the government would throw a monkey wrench into the economy. He said there will be a very real economic impact on real people right away. He called it the height of irresponsibility, something that doesn't have to happen. He called it the extreme right wing of the party. He also said that tomorrow Obamacare will take effect, whether there's a government shutdown or not. It's funded. You can't stop it. That's what he said. You can't shut it down.
actually, is what he said. And, what the Republicans are asking for is a one-year delay in the individual mandate from a president who's already given businesses a delay and exemption after exemption after exemption unilaterally out of his own judgment, excusing various factions and people and groups from the law, postponing the law taking effect on them. How a president does that is beyond me. If something is the law, is it the president who gets to say, okay, you don't have to follow it yet. You don't have to follow it yet. Really? Is that how our government works? And this nonsense about, this isn't how a government works. This isn't what happens. Let me just educate you a little bit. And you could weigh in 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. Let's go through it here for a second. 1976. Democrats were in the House and the Senate. Carl Albert was the speaker. First time the government shut down. It shut down 17 times, including this first time. It was a conflict because President Ford vetoed a funding bill for the Departments of Labor, Health, and Education, which today are all split into different departments. And Congress resolved it eventually by overriding Ford's veto. But the government was shut down for 10 days. Why? Because the Democrats didn't like the fact that the president vetoed a bill. 10 days they shut it down. They held us hostage for 10 days. Let me move on. 1977. Tip O'Neill, Speaker. Robert Byrd, Majority Leader. The House insisted on continuing a ban on using Medicaid dollars to pay for abortions, except in the case where the life of the mother was at stake. The Senate wanted to loosen this. So it was really the Democrats against the Democrats. Okay? Jimmy Carter was president. They controlled both houses. This shutdown, this hostage taking, this ransom taking, this act of anarchy, I'm just using quotes from today's Democrats, lasted 12 days. 12 days. Let's go to shutdown number 3, 1977. Same issue. The abortion, the Medicaid funding of it, same president, same Congress, same House and Senate. 8 days. Again, Medicaid to pay for abortions. A month later, 8 more days. Let's skip ahead to 1978. Robert Byrd, Majority Leader of the Senate. Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House. Jimmy Carter, President. Congress passed a defense bill, including funding for a nuclear-carried aircraft. Carter didn't like it. He wanted it out of the bill. So the Democrats, who back then wanted a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, shows how times have changed, held us hostage for 18 days. 18 days. Okay? And they got a new defense bill, which excluded funding for the carrier. And let's see. I don't know what happened here. Anyway, 1979. Tip O'Neill, Robert Byrd, Jimmy Carter. This time, they shut us down for 11 days. The House wanted to raise congressional and senior level service pay. And the Senate said no. So for 8 days, Tip O'Neill and the House kidnapped us, held us for ransom. Do I hear Tom Petty coming to the door? and shut us down over a pay raise for themselves. Let's see, which one was this? Was this the 8 days? Also wanted to limit federal spending. Wanted to raise congressional senior level pay for 11 days. Let's go to shutdown number 7, 1981. Reagan. Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House. Republicans controlled the White House and the Senate. Tip O'Neill. Reagan promised to veto any spending bill that didn't include at least half of his proposed $8.5 billion in domestic budget cuts. So Tip O'Neill closed down the government for 2 days in that time. Let's go to showdown number 8. 1982, Reagan, Howard Baker, Republican, Tip O'Neill. This shut down for 1 day. New fiscal year started. Congress hadn't passed a new spending in time. So parts of the budget government were forced to shut down. 1982, Baker, O'Neill, Reagan, 3 days. House and Senate wanted to fund a $5 billion in public works spending, but Reagan threatened to veto it. They shut down the government. They didn't like Reagan's veto threat. Over a veto threat, they shut down the government. 1983, 3 days. 1984, 2 days. 1984, 1 day. 1986, 1 day. 1980, that was 86. Okay. 1987, with a new Democratic speaker, Jim Wright, and Robert Byrd, still the leader and of the majority leader of the Senate. 1 day, 1990. Democrats, Tom Foley, George Mitchell, George H.W. Bush. 3 days. Bill Clinton. Then the Republicans did it for 5 days. So you see what I'm saying? This is nothing new, but they'll have us believe that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll take your phone calls. Brad from California will be first up. 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar but stopped taking their diabetes medications with the astounded approval of their doctor. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't hear this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now, while this revolutionary video is still available for free. That's 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. 99reverse.com.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming. The shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. the only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The Silver Polar Bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, 855-777-9660. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Brad out in California. Hello, Brad. Thanks for weighing in, sir.
Hey, Steve. Appreciate your show.
Thank you.
I got so many things I want to say. I'll start with, Obama. I'm going to call him the government self-aggrandizer in chief because he makes the government seem so important to us as though we can't do without it. They've stepped into the middle of so many processes that don't need government. It's ridiculous. And then to say that, everybody's going to be harmed if government can't do its thing is just such a lie. I've heard a statistic. I don't know if maybe you can further look into this or whatever, and that is that 72% of every dollar that goes into that big machine, that big beast, stays there. And the money that comes back to the people, 28%.
Overall, it varies in district by district around the country, and congressional candidates often brag how much they're getting back on their contribution or their constituents' contribution. I don't know the exact number, but that sounds to be about right. Now, look, obviously, are some people going to be hurt here? Absolutely, but you know what? It's the president's fault. And it's the Democrats' fault. Not to delay the mandate for individuals the way they have for special interests and businesses, and not to defund the subsidies for premiums, the premium subsidies for congressional staffers, so they get to help when they have to pay their bills for Obamacare when no one else gets that. Just agree to that. Why not?
Yeah. Now, you know what? If you want to know the truth, I'm probably looking at it from an earlier stage to say that government shouldn't even be involved in that in the first place. And the people that are dependent on government for that, this is what they get. A government that's going to hold them hostage when they don't get their way for the next step down the line.
Well, not only that, people who are dependent on government for their health care might be all of us one day because of this. But what's worse is look at the healthcare systems of Canada and Great Britain. And that's where we're headed, to terrible, horrific, death-laden health care. I thank you for the call. I got to go, but I thank you for the call, sir. Thank you. When we come back, folks, we're going to be joined by Waleed Faris to talk about Iran and Obama. Can't let that go either. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54 with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some, once a Democrat, then a Republican, a champion of smaller government whose own government grew, a fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th birthday commemorative edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us right now is Dr. Waleed Faris, Fox News Middle East and terrorism expert. Hello, Doctor. Thanks for joining us again.
Well, thank you for having me today, Steve.
Well, it's my pleasure. Okay, we have Benjamin Netanyahu meeting with Barack Obama at the White House. This comes on the heels of the president's phone call to the president of Iran. Of course, in context, the president of Iran snubbed Barack Obama at the UN, wouldn't shake his hand. Nonetheless, the president calls him, and they have this talk. And now, lo and behold, they think they could get an agreement real quick and end the sanctions, and everything's going to be hunky-dory.
That is on the surface. Now let's go below the surface and see exactly what has been happening. The Obama administration, Steve, as we all know, has been trying to reach out and cut a deal with the Iranian regime for many years. It tried in a letter that it sent during the spring of 2009, just before the demonstrations in Iran. 2 letters were sent to the Ayatollah Khamenei. Then the Iranian demonstrations actually sort of delayed this action. Then you have a domestic issue, the election of a majority in the House, 2010, then 2011, the Arab Spring, 2012, the election, 2013, back. The administration is back. So it's not something out of nowhere. It's a strategy that the Obama administration would like to see being achieved. Now, the Iranian regime is different. The Iranian regime will use this facade of, the United States is not going to attack us. It's going to lift these sanctions so that they could basically apply what they want. And what they want is basically to continue with the development of their strategic weapons, not the nuke first, but the missiles. That's what my concern is.
So this would be a buying time, in other words.
This is the absolute correct term, buying strategic time, meaning meanwhile, we're gonna see a lot of things. First the phone call, then the email, then the Twitter, then a basketball team going from the States to Iran, and all sorts of things. Reality is that on the ground, nothing will change. And my assessment, Steve, is that the administration, all what it wants is a facade, is the expression that it is going in that direction, but it's more interested in domestic, as you know.
Right, and it seems to me like Obama is very interested in lifting those sanctions. And, he reached out to as you mentioned, to the Ayatollah years ago with this letter or a series of letters. And now he goes around touting the fact that the Ayatollah Khomeini has put a fatwa on nuclear weapons as if that means anything.
As if international relations, especially, a president who is known to speak for secularism. I mean, there's a fight against religions here and now in international relations. A religious fatwa is the basis, the foundation. What about the next religious fatwa that would say, the previous one we're going to abrogate, and then the next one? We cannot base relationships on fatwas, on religious fatwas, especially coming from an Islamist regime, not from moderates.
Right, and of course, they also say anything they need to say if it's politically expedient, and then they just break it whenever they want to break it. That's what Yasser Arafat used to say in Arabic all the time, right?
Well, ask me. I used to live in Beirut during the Arafat years.
Yeah.
That would be the 75 and 80s. Arafat signed 103 ceasefires. Is this telling? 103 ceasefires to be broken up the next day.
It is incredible. Okay, so Israel with the prime minister here and saying, right from the get-go, I don't know what he's going to say publicly, but certainly to Obama, he's probably going to say, this is ridiculous, this is a facade, I don't trust them, they're further along than you believe. I mean, what does Israel do now? I mean, is this... Does Obama try to see this as something to link to the Palestinian issue? Is this something Obama really believes it could work and that Israel will be placated and assured? I mean, how does Israel fit into this equation?
Maybe the political dream of the advisors of the president. I don't know what's in the head of the president, but at least the advisors are saying, why do we have to be always aligned with Israeli national security interests? We will cut the deals, and then we'll tell the Israelis, what do you want from the Iranians? We can get it for you. Meaning reposition the United States not with Israel versus the Iranian regime, but between the Iranian regime and Israel. Maybe that is the equation that the Israelis are very nervous about.
All right, now we go to Syria and the resolution that the UN agreed to, Doctor. By the way, we're talking to Dr. Waleed Faris, Fox News Middle East analyst here on the Steve Malzberg Show, also terrorism expert, of course. The agreement does not call for any military action or penalties, really, against Assad if he does not comply with this giving up his chemical weapons. And, of course, in my view, as a layman, the joke is it's been, a month and a half? Any chemical weapons he wanted to move out of the country is moved out of the country. So no matter what he gives up or what he lets the inspectors see, he's going to have tons more anyway. But if he doesn't or doesn't meet the satisfaction of the inspectors, there's still no repercussions for him. And the deal calls for, in other words, defining the deal as successful keeps Assad in power.
Absolutely. The weapons are on another planet. I mean, they're in Iran, they're in Iraq, they're with Hezbollah. Yes, you described it very well. It is a joke. It's a joke of a monumental dimension in the sense that a president who would ask Assad to step down is going to strike a deal with the same president who is supposed to step down in order to remove the chemical weapon. It does not make sense. What we said 3 months ago doesn't make sense today with this agreement through the Russians that the Syrian president will ensure that those weapons will be remitted to the international community. And by the way, not to the international community. The Russians are going to be the one to, to observe, monitor, and eventually dismantle. But as you said, so far the Syrians, Iranians, some of their allies in Iraq, and Hezbollah are the winner of this equation because they saved the skin of the regime in Syria. The regime in Syria was expecting that there would be strikes, that we're going to support the opposition or parts of the opposition. Now they're free. And by the way, let me give you a quick tip. What's happening over the past 24 to 48 hours? Syrian, Iranian, Hezbollah forces are now operating in northern Lebanon to dismantle any of the opposition. So when we strike an agreement with them in international relations, what they do on the ground, like Stalin, like Hitler, basically, is to change the ground, the laws on the ground.
All right. I have one more for you, and that revolves around the persecution of the Christians. I mean, every day we're seeing more and more bombings, and whether it's in Pakistan, whether it's in the Copts in Egypt, etc. And there's a story out about, and it's incredible. And it is okay. I think this is okay. I managed to punch up the wrong story. But there are people within one specifically whose name I don't have at my disposal in the Department of Homeland Security, appointed by Janet Napolitano, who has been outspoken. He's been outspoken against the trial of the Holy Land Foundation. He's been a tacit supporter of Hamas, and he has been outspoken saying that the Copts have caused their own persecution by inciting the Muslims. This is a man who's in the Homeland Security Department of the United States, and there's probably dozens more like him.
Well, at least I know of two. And this is not my own investigation. This is what exists in the blogosphere and open media, mainstream media even. Two advisors, one in the White House and one at the DHS, have openly said, and it's on record, that the Christians of Egypt, the Copts of Egypt, are the ones who are bringing this violence to them by making those statements. This is outrageous. I mean, statements like these by officials linked to the U.S. government at the end of the day, making statements that minorities are bringing persecution to themselves is something that Congress and even the administration will have to stop immediately.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully take a stand and do something to stop the slaughter. Okay, Doctor, thank you as always. A pleasure to speak to you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always my pleasure. Dr. Waleed Faris, Fox News Middle East and terrorism expert here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I will get you the name of the gym. I just can't find the story. It was actually a WND story by Aaron Klein, and it's just incredible. It's just incredible. You ask, why is the president not spoken out on the killing of Christians and the persecution of Christians that we have talked about every day on this show, because it's an outrage that it could be happening in the year 2013. But the White House and the State Department are silent. And anyway, 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now. 800-908-1254. 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real hold-in-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out, because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Yes, sir. Here we go. Live long and prosper. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We got some people on the phone who want to weigh in. 855-777-9660. Let's first go to Joe down in Atlanta, listening on our great affiliate down there, WCFO. Hello, Joe.
Hey, buddy. How you doing today?
Good. How are you? You and I spoke during the George Zimmerman trial, right?
We did, like about 2 or 3 days before the verdict came in, and looks like we were both kind of right on that one.
Yeah. So what's up?
You know, I just have a thing that right now I think that we're just kind of mixing our message. You know, I know that we had before Libya, we had decided that, you know what, we can't allow some monster just to be killing his people indiscriminately. We're going to go do something about it. We didn't want to put boots on the ground, so we said we'd do some airstrikes. We do that, then we say, oh, know what, you want to do? We want to arm the rebels. So we go and arm the rebels. And then a couple months later, they kill one of our ambassadors, and everybody freaks out, right? I think the American people have basically got to the point where we're saying, look, the sectarian violence, those civil wars that are happening in the Middle Eastern countries, whether it be Christians against Muslims or Muslims against Muslims, we're tired of getting our hands dirty in it. We're a little bit tired of sending our boys and girls over there to come back wounded, no one willing to pay those bills. people wanting to shut down the government every other month in order to prove a point about not wanting health care in America. At some point, when you say that, hey, we have a couple Christians who are being killed by a bunch of Muslims in a predominantly Muslim country, America should do something about it. We have intervened in our most recent history. Everybody demagogued it. Everyone has said that basically Obama is the reason that our ambassador is dead. Not the fact that we went in there for a just cause, not the fact that we actually tried to do the righteous thing and we had some ancillary damages. But, basically this is all his fault. So if we were to say, let's step up, let's go and try to help the Christians who are in this predominantly Muslim country, and we're going to fight off, the whole country?
No, wait. First of all, you're taking on a lot of topics here. Let me just focus on the Christian, the slaughter and persecution of Christians and others, but predominantly Christians in many Muslim countries, African nations. We see bombings, we see slaughter, we see church burnings, we see beheadings. I'm not saying we send the military into all these countries and fight the Muslims. Well, first of all, first thing is we need a president who will stand up and say, and I'm glad you reminded me of this, we need a president who would stand up and say, this has to stop. This is wrong. These countries,
who do they say that to?
To the leaders. Well, first of all, to the world. Secondly, to the leader. Wait. You asked me. Secondly, to the leaders. But let me. When I was talking to Waleed Faris, I couldn't come up with a name. This is a piece written by WorldNet Daily. It's written by Aaron Klein, and an advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, appointed by Janet Napolitano before she left. Used his Twitter profile to defend the Muslim Brotherhood while accusing Egypt's persecuted Christian minority of inciting Islam against them. Earlier this month, Mohammed, I want to get his name correct here with my poor eyesight here. Let's see. Iberi, Mohammed Iberi, who was appointed to the Department of Homeland Security Advisory Council by then Secretary Janet Napolitano in 2010, tweeted that he was reappointed and even promoted. And tomorrow we're going to have Stephen Emerson on this show from the Investigative Project on Terrorism, and they're going to tell us all about this guy. For decades since 9/11 attack, extremist American Coptic act. This is what he tweeted. For decades since 9/11 attack, extremist American Coptic activists have nurtured anti-Islam and anti-Muslim sentiments among American right wing. I don't know what he's talking about, but this guy's blaming the Copts in Egypt for bringing slaughter upon themselves from Muslims. And this is the sickness that serves in the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. You tell me what's wrong with this picture.
I say that there's a whole lot wrong with that picture. But I also think that there are parts of America that are just okay with violence. I know that every time we talk about the next, mass shooting, we say that, okay, this is an isolated incident, or, oh, it had nothing to do with the fact that the guns were easily accessible. We tell people in Chicago that basically they should move because the area is too violent. But yet we want to sit back and act as if we can police these other countries.
No. We need to at least have a policy of condemnation. We need to impose sanctions on any country that would permit the slaughter of any minority, and in particular here, I'm talking about Christians. The Christian world needs to rise up and protest of what's going on. I'm dumbfounded by the silence. That's what really gets me.
That's what really gets me. And let's take if we took America out of it. Let's say that we don't talk about it from our point of view. Let's take it from the world point of view. Why is it that you have Syria being able to gas its people and no one else in the world cares? Why is it that the countries who are literally sitting right next to it, whether it be Turkey or Jordan or Saudi Arabia, why aren't they the ones on the front line fighting this battle if they actually care?
I couldn't agree with you more. I thank you for the call. Please don't wait so long next time. Also listening on our great affiliate in Atlanta is Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. You're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks for weighing in.
Well, I would like to comment on what he's saying.
You mean what Joe is saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Number one, those people in the Middle East have been fighting all their lives among themselves. And no matter what we do, they're still going to do it. There is no way to make them come together in peace. There is just no way. It's been happening for 2,000 years. And I don't think that we need to be putting money into Egypt anymore. Let them fight their own battles.
Well, right now we're supporting with our monies the Egyptian military, which is a good thing, I think, because it is a good thing because they've now outlawed the Muslim Brotherhood. Any country that outlaws the Muslim Brotherhood is a friend of mine.
Well, if they have done that. But the problem is they keep lying to us about this and that, and they just keep lying.
Well, I think you're frustrated, and rightfully so, Elizabeth, by a culture and a region where, Muslim kills Muslim, Muslim kills Christian, Muslim kills Jew, and it's been going on for, as you said, for a long, long time. But if you focus on modern times, it's been going on ever since we could remember. So I understand your frustration, but that doesn't mean we close our eyes. I'm not advocating we send troops, but that doesn't mean the president and the secretary of state can't go to the United Nations, can't stand before the world and say this has to stop. This is outrageous. Killing Christians just because they're Christian has to stop. But we hear nothing. We hear nothing. In fact, we get this kind of creep, in my opinion, in the Homeland Security Department, who's blaming Christians for their own deaths, and the administration probably agrees. Probably agrees. That's why you don't see. That's why this guy got promoted, according to himself, and not fired.
Agree with all that, and we've let it happen in this country.
We have, and you know what? Soon, Elizabeth, soon there's going to be no turning back. Soon we're going to be at a point in this country where we're doomed. We're not the United States of America that you and I grew up in, and we never will be again if we don't wise up. That's all I can say, and vote the right way. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, I promised to get to this, and we're going to end on this. No, okay, yeah, I got scared for a second. We're going to end on this story, if it's the last story I do today, and it will be. Okay, not all pets are calm, and as a result, some pet owners are giving their pets, are you ready for this? Prozac? Xanax? But is it the right thing to do? This is a story from FoxNewYork.com, FoxNY.com. Dogs are known for being full of life, barking, running, playing. But when you have a pet that's overactive, uncontrollable, or exhibiting anxiety, should you turn to doggy drugs? First of all, are these people nuts to give dogs drugs? I mean, I guess they do it with the advice of a doctor. Pet expert and trainer Andrea Arden says she's seen a dramatic increase in the last 10 years of owners getting prescriptions for Prozac and Xanax from their vets to calm their pets down. She believes the reason for anxious pets is a change in the owner's lifestyle. She does not believe the drugs are the solution. She says owners need to spend more time with pets so that they don't exhibit behavior problems. And she said that you need to be careful because Prozac and Xanax could actually harm your pet. You think so? I mean, would you take dog medicine like Kramer did in a Seinfeld episode for his cough? By the way, I might need some dog medicine. So before you resort to drugs, Arden suggests getting your dog trained and giving it some puppy love. I would never give my dog Xanax, Prozac, or anything else. All right, we finally did this story. I've been waiting to do it, and now we've done it. On the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen, another big day tomorrow, God willing. Newsmax TV and radio.